Hi there, this is me your friend Deepak and I welcome you to yet another video of IT Job Matters. In this video I'm going to tell you about interview question which was asked at this company. So let's start. This interview was for this company and the client was HSBC and it was for mainframe developer job. And year of experience which was required for this was 3 to 5. And the core skill which was required for this job is COBOL, JCL, CICS and DB2. CICS they have mentioned explicitly. Friends, before I start with question, I would like to share one thing with you. If you are going to work at this company and you are going to work on a client location which is HSBC, then consider that you are going to be treated as contractor in HSBC and they treat very badly. Means I too have once experience. I went there for interview process. Even at interview process also they treated very badly. So just consider or just think about the situation when you will be working daily at that location. Anyway, it's your choice whether you want to work at this company on client location of HSBC or not. Once this interview was done, after 3 or 4 days I got mail communication that I have cleared the interview at the client location of HSBC, and they were saying like we will go ahead with the further process, but I denied because the kind of treatment which they gave me at the time of interview I was not happy with that, so I just denied it. But anyway, now let's start with the question which they asked at this particular interview. So this is the very first question. There they are asking, suppose there is a sequential file, how can I know whether it is empty or have some record? So there is two way, either we can use ICE tool or either we can use IDCAMS, and there we will be using that file where we want to know where there is some record or not as an input, and then if that file is having no record, then after immediate step we will be checking what is the return code of this step. What is the return code of this step? If the return code of this step is 0, it means there is something in the file, and if it is a 4, then it means there is nothing, there is no record in the file. In this question they are asking what is the difference between static call and dynamic call, and which one will be good to use in a production environment and why. So the very first difference is, in case of static call we call the program directly by using the program name, but in case of dynamic call we call a program using a variable name, and that variable name we use in a call statement. In a way you can say like, in case of static call the call literals value is identified at the time of compilation itself, but in case of dynamic call the value of this variable will get identified at the time of run. So the load module of that particular called program will get loaded into the main memory at the time of execution. If we want to achieve static call environment in our program, then we need to use no dynam in a compiler option. But even if we do not use no dynam, then default compiler option is no dynam only. And if we want to achieve dynamic call environment, then we need to use dynam compiler option in JCL. But even if we don't use dynam, then by default all call variables and any unresolved calls are considered as dynamic. Let's take this example. Suppose we have a COBOL program, there we have used this call. Now even if we will be using no dynam, since here this call variable value will be identified at the time of execution, so this call will be dynamic, not static. In case of static call, if subprogram undergoes the changes, then subprogram as well as main program both needs to be recompiled. But in case of dynamic call, if subprogram undergoes some changes, then recompilation of subprogram is enough, because at the time of execution the program will take the modified load module of the subprogram automatically. Because in case of static call, sub modules are linked edited with main module at the linked edit phase itself. But in case of dynamic call, sub modules are picked up during runtime from the load library address. And because of this, the size of load module will be bit larger in static call than a program which is calling multiple subprograms dynamically. In case of static call, all subprograms are at one place, so the program execution is bit faster in a static call. But in dynamic call, or as all the subprograms are residing somewhere else and we need to call them dynamically at the time of execution. So because of that, it is bit slower in compared to static call. In case of static call, it is bit less flexible, because even if we are changing only subprogram, then also we need to recompile main program and subprogram both. But in case of dynamic call, it is more flexible, because if we are changing only subprogram, then only that particular subprogram recompilation is enough. In this question they are asking what are the different way to pass data from JCL to COBOL program. So the very first way is to pass it using PALM parameter, but PALM parameter has some limitation. It can pass only 100 character at a time. Now the second way is to pass it using file, and that file we will be getting in COBOL program. For that we need to define that file structure in file section. Now the third way is to pass it using sysyn dd star, but for that we need to write except statement in our COBOL program. Then he asked how do we pass data using PALM in JCL to COBOL program, and how do we retrieve those or get those parameters of PALM in our COBOL program. So this is how we are going to write PALM value to pass from JCL to COBOL program, and to get it in COBOL program we need to write linkage section variable as well to accept this. The next question he asked to me is, suppose I'm passing data to a COBOL program in JCL using PALM and I forget to declare linkage section variable in COBOL program. So will it abend at compile time or at runtime, or will it run successfully? So answer for this would be it will compile and run successfully, because I have tried it and it got compiled and run successfully. But interviewer was bit confused. He said it will abend, but I said it may be, but what I have seen it was running successfully. So guys, remember, at the time of interview, interviewer is always correct. So I did not fight on this question, that I am correct. In this question they are asking what is difference between SQL code 818 and SQL code 805. So friends, we get SQL code 818 when consistency token of the load module is different from bind time stamp, which is built from the DVRM at the time of binding. But we get SQL code 805 when any DVRM or package is not found in plan which is supposed to be there, and error text in case of SQL code 805 is invalid DVRM or plan. To resolve SQL code -818, you need to pre-compile code so that it gets new timestamp in load module of the COBOL program and bind the DVRM with plan with the same timestamp. And to resolve SQL code 805, you just see which DVRM or package is not there in plan and include it accordingly in plan by binding it to a plan. In this question they are asking what is difference between package and plan. So the package contains logic of only one DVRM and it is a single bound DVRM. But the plan contains logic of one or more DVRM or one or more package, or the combination of both. Package is not executable. It means it cannot be executed with COBOL program directly. Package must be bound to a plan in order to get it executed with the COBOL program. But the plan is executable. When I say plan is executable, it means it can be executed with COBOL program load module to run your application program successfully. The relationship between DVRM and package is 1-to-1. But the relationship between DVRM and plan is 1-to-many. And because of this, we prefer to bind DVRM to package and then package to plan in spite of binding direct DVRM to plan. Because suppose this one DVRM is getting changed, so we need to bind again those all plan whoever is using this DVRM. So due to this, we use this approach. In this question he asked package is constant or it keeps on changing. So it is not constraints, it keep on changing. As and when the COBOL program are changed, it goes through the pre-compilation and then binding DVRM to package. So in that case, package keeps on changing as and when program is changed. In this question they are asking what is handle and what is no handle in CICS. So friend, handle condition is used to transfer control to a proper procedure or para on expected exceptions. whereas no handle is used to ensure that no action is taken for any condition that results from the execution of that particular command. And here is the syntax which I have given here. So here, if any exception is coming due to duplicate key, it will go to this para. If it is not found exception, it will go to this para. If it is map fail, then it will go to this para. In case of no handle, if we are running this transaction and suppose there is some issue in file, then we have used no handle. It means even if there is no record in file and some exception is coming, then also it will not stop there, it will just go to next step. Handle condition has some limitation. It cannot track program interruption abend like SOC 4, SOC 7. It deals only with exception of CICS commands, and it can handle up to max 12 condition only. In this question they are asking what is difference between handle and ignore. So handle condition is used to transfer control to a proper procedure on expected exception, whereas ignore condition is used when we want no action to be taken if particular abend or error happens, which is mentioned inside the ignore condition. Handle means do something appropriate, and ignore means do nothing. It's like you don't care at all. In case of both, be it handle or ignore, both can handle up to 12 condition, and this is the syntax of handle condition and ignore condition. In case of handle condition, I have written here, in case of map fail, go to this para. In case of length error, go to this para. But if we are using ignore condition, and here I have mentioned length error or map fail, so it will do nothing. It will simply go to next statement if these two events are happening. In this question they are asking how to delete all leading spaces from any variable. So friends, let's try to understand this by one example. To achieve this, we will need to write this logic. So suppose I have a variable called wsstr1, and there I have a value, my name is Deepak, and it is with leading 4 spaces, and this is the position value of each character in this variable. Okay, now we have a variable called wscount, then wslength, and then wsstr2, where I will be receiving that complete string after receiving leading spaces. Now I need to write a code like inspect wsstr1 tallying wscount for leading spaces. Now after completion of this code, the count wscount will be having value as 4 because we have 4 leading spaces here. Now we are taking the length of wsstr1 into wslength, which is 21. So now the total length is 21 and the count value is 4. So we will be subtracting the wscount from wslength. So total value in wslength will be 17 after execution of this line of code. After that we will be increasing the wscount value by +1. So now its value will be 5. Now with the help of reference modification, we will be moving wsstr1 value to wsstr2. So from wsstr we will be starting from wscount and we will be taking value up to wslen characters. So here the value of wscount is 5, which is from here, and wslen value is 17. So starting from 5, 17 characters come up to here. So at end of this line of code execution, we will be having value my name is Deepak in wsstr2 with all leading spaces removed. So friend, this is all for this video. If you have any question or any doubt regarding this video, do post it in the YouTube comment section below and I will try to include it in my next video. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, do hit on subscribe button for more such videos. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.